Hey guys, today we're going to talk about this 3-piece Esbit solid fuel stove. This was a Christmas gift off of Amazon. It runs like around 23 bucks. You can get the solid fuel Esbit tabs for about 6 bucks for a box this size. They are pretty interesting. They've been around a long time, actually. The fuel is actually hexamine is what it's called. And these things are pretty nifty. Now I became familiar with Esbit back probably around the year 2000. I picked up one of the folding stoves and some of the tabs at a like an Army Navy store and started kind of utilizing them backpacking. And you know, I was having a lot of fond memories of my old backpacking days, and I saw this, so I kind of threw it on the old Amazon wish list. And this is kind of a really nice, well built. It's only 7 ounces, which is kind of nice. It's a 16-ounce cup with a lid. It's got graduations on the inside of the cup. Handles are plastic dipped, and the D-ring on top is locking, so it will stay in that upright position for you, which is a big plus. The lid is recessed into the actual pot, so it won't go falling off, and the pot has a recessed area as well, so that it locks into the stove. This makes for a very stable system, which is a very good added bonus, because nothing's worse than having a very tippy stove out in the woods when you're trying to get stuff done. So like I said, this thing's very lightweight, like 7 ounces. The cup's 16 ounces, and very simple to operate. Anyone can do it, and overall everything seems to be built very well. I don't see any issues with fit or finish. Everything's riveted well. No leaks. Everything seems to be perfect. Comes with a little stuff sack you can put it into. Yada yada yada. So, Esbit. I really loved this stuff when I was younger, and that's of course before I ever got into alcohol stoves. And these things are nowhere near as efficient as alcohol stoves, and I think they've kind of gone out of style a little bit. I think they really hit their peak in the early 2000s when, you know, kind of that backpacking craze hit, and I think they've kind of died off with a lot of the modern technology, a lot of the white gas stoves that are so cheap out there now, and the really awesome alcohol stoves that you can get all over the place. These things have really died down. They're just not as pertinent. But a lot of it is because of the fuel itself, the hexamine fuel. One of these tablets, I'll pull some of these out here so you can see them. Well, these things burn about, you know, anywhere from like 11 to 14 minutes. And the problem is that only really like 8 or 9 minutes of that is usable. After that, it really kind of winds down and gets cool. And if you're not boiling by like that 8-minute point, it's not going to happen. So oftentimes, I just took this outside to test because it's a nice, like, 30-degree night, so I want to do a test. So I ran it through, and it didn't boil 16 ounces of water. I didn't expect it to in this temperature, but, you know, the thing is you're not always guaranteed a boil, especially in cold weather, which is one of the flaws. Cold weather really does put a damper on these. So that is one issue. Another, it's very difficult to control the temperature, so if you are cooking something like trying to make like a hamburger or something like that, hot dog, it can be very, very difficult to get that done. So temperature control is difficult. The fuel is kind of limited, and then, you know, to load another one in, you're basically going to have this molten pile of Esbit that you're going to have to somehow stick another cube on top of. It can be very difficult and very messy. And one tip I can always recommend to you is to put a little piece of aluminum foil in the bottom of this before you light the cube. That'll make it a lot easier, because then you get to that point when you want to get rid of that cube, you can literally just take it off, flip it over, put the new one in, and get right back to cooking. And it saves you a huge mess. You can kind of see where some of the cube kind of melted to the side there. It really makes this icky sludge. So if you can put a little piece of aluminum foil down in the bottom of there, you will save yourself a lot of cleanup. Also, you are going to soot up the bottom of your pots pretty bad. Now this is only from a couple of uses, so it hasn't gotten that bad yet. Over time, it will definitely get pretty gross if you don't keep it super clean. The fumes from these can be a little much. I've kind of found like it seems to vary from pack to pack. Sometimes you get packs that smell really strong, sometimes they don't. You know, and then there's questions of how toxic is it, you know. So overall, like I said, the Esbits are a little dated. They're still very useful and very pertinent, but they're just not as efficient as some of the modern alcohol stoves, and they're not as portable as some of the modern liquid propane and white gas stoves that are out there. Some of the modern technology has just blown this away. So I wanted to review it. This gets a lot of great reviews, but at the same time, like I said, this is kind of limited. You know, you're not going to be able to use this in really cold weather. You know, if you have really cold water, it's going to slow you down, and you might need 2 tablets just to boil a single cup of water. So it is something to pay attention to. You really have to plan your fuel out, and if you are on a backpacking trip, you know, these tablets can add up in size pretty quick. You know, a weekend trip, you might need 6, 8, 10 of these. So if something happens to them along the way, you can really kind of run into trouble. So they are something that's requires a little planning on your part. But overall, like I said, the pot's built very well. I like the pot. I like the stand. You know, it's just the fuel just has those inherent flaws that it's not the strongest and not the most efficient. So I am going to do some tinkering around. I think what I'm going to do is maybe put another dish in there to get the Esbit tab a little higher up and a little closer to the bottom of the pot. I vaguely remember in the old days with those folding stoves, you used to put the tablets kind of standing up on edge, and you would get a lot better burn out of them. So I'm gonna do some testing and play around and see, but for the most part, I just kind of bought this for nostalgia's sake. I wanted to kind of mess around with it. I thought it'd be a good kind of extra thing to toss around, you know, if I'm out, you know, doing some work in the backyard or something like that. I can always, you know, boil myself up some coffee and something like that real quick without having to go back inside, or if I'm messing around or whatever. So it'll give me a kind of so. Plus it's small, it's compact, it's portable. It nests together very well. You know, of course, there's plenty of room in there for your tablets, or maybe even a small alcohol stove as a backup, or whatever it is you need. But overall, it's a nice little system. It's 20-something bucks. It's just, like I said, it's not the best on the market. You're not getting the most efficient, the best stove out there. You're just getting something that's okay.